Once more into the breach. This time, the companies are, I don't know, I find this kind of interesting. The number one company tied to, not that, tied to this thing that's the B&O similar thing, is the worst company out of the set, right? It's the one that is in the shittiest position. All the way down here, not a lot of value near it. But this is a valuable bonus. You can start the company at $100 and you make an immediate 75 at face value. That kind of lowers its value though, the fact that it's tied to this company. Beyond that, the number two is the Trincaria, which is very, very good. However, it is a landmine. You can't start it in the 5-player game very easily because it owes $90 in tokens to begin with, right? So that's enough that you can buy a $100 train if you got $200, and $200 is usually what you're going to be starting companies at, right? Now, or close to it, but like 204. But the 136, that's not going to do. You're going to end up broke, and you're not hooked up to anything, so you're not going to be able to fund it out of pocket if you wanted to do that. And again, we went over playing around to try to release shares or whatever. It takes too long in this game to make it make a sensible option. So that becomes kind of a, whoever has the next choice at a company may not be able to buy it. Just that kind of roadblock in there. And then we go to the Archimedes, which, yeah, other than its starting dot, is not that terrible, but I mean, it's like Ragusa basically as a starting for the Garibaldi. The Lilybeo, the best of the starting companies probably for early money, is not going to be available. No one's going to be able to get to that. And from what we saw last time, chances are there's only 3 or 4 companies that can reasonably start. With this high value one, maybe it's only 3. But we'll see. The Garibaldi is an interesting starting company. It's also an interesting company later in the game, but because things like this become available. Let's see what we fall out with that initial packet. I got to modify some of my thoughts because, again, this is not going to be as valuable tied to that company as it was to the Garibaldi. And bidding things up high is really bad. It may mean you can't start a company, which, again, got to do that calculation in my head and vet things. Much cleaner start. But player 5 is up. Now, if I roll a 1, they pick that up, and it just all falls at pretty much face value, and we see how that works. I'm not sure that, I think this guy can't start a company, but again, whatever's. But he gets a 4, which means he'll be putting a bid in on that thing, which, again, you know, it's funny, I'm valuing these as the highest valued too now. I've kind of balanced this one out and said, I'm not so sure it's that big a deal. But it is a big chunk of change. That 75 extra bucks right away. Well, this one clearly is going to go out there, but because he just rolled it. But it's a little bit more questionable with some of the others. Now let's take a look at this. He's got a 50 bid, 70. That would give him 230 bucks. Well, and we would not necessarily be starting any particular company. So we might be starting the last company. Well, 230 bucks is enough to start a company at 100, which means I can probably survive even if I'm the last company, which I won't be because I'll be starting at 100. 230 divided by 68 doesn't sound too promising. Yeah, that's only 3 shares, which is probably the 204, which is not good. Definitely don't want to start there. So, well, I think we'll just roll and see what happens. And we get a 5, that's going to put us in with a bit over here. So a quick pickup of the $20 one got him 2 companies, probably a good thing, even though, yeah, so he ended up spending $100 on those 2, but that gets him enough that he can buy a company at 200, so great. This is going to go to player 4, fairly cheap. He's probably going to win the game because of it, but whatever. Like I said, I think the initial packet actually pretty much determines the game. All right, so now but I don't understand it enough to be able to be certain about that, but it seems so potent. So right now this is at $120. I could go to 125. Well, what's 120? What's 125 mean? It means I have $175, but I have priority. I will get the first company to start at $68 if I buy that. What does that mean, though? Because let's look at the rest of the world. And I mean, this is the kind of analysis you have to do, at least in 5 players, to see whether or not you can afford to take something. So 75, 100 and, what did I say? 125 puts me to 175 in pocket. 175 is enough for me to buy 2 shares at 68. But this guy's got $200. This guy's got $200. This guy's going to have the Akragas with $200 presumably, and this guy will have lost out, so he has $300 and can certainly start a company. So all the companies are going to start flush with cash, except mine. I can't buy it. I cannot buy it unless I want to be a pure investor. And he's probably in the same position. And it was probably the choice I wanted to make. But now I have, well, do I want company 2? I do want company 2. So unless it's a 1, it's a 1. I'm going to up my bid because, hey, it's a private company and it's going to make me money. And being an investor is not necessarily a terrible thing in an 18xx game in general. How about this one? I don't know. Okay, so now we're at 130. I don't think that really changes the situation, so I'm going to call it a 1 as well. And it is not, so he gets it for 125. Means we're sitting over here with priority. Again, I don't have the money to start the company, I don't think. I think I don't have the money to, I gotta be careful with my wording of these things. Because otherwise they bring to mind what I do not want to think of. So, finally teach me. Let's just rethink it. At 175 for this, I could put 136 in. This is unfortunately the $90 company. I might be able to buy a different company, but I can't buy that one. So, my choices are to pass or to buy a share of this. Let's see, what is going to fall out? Well, if I'm going to buy $100 share of something, it's probably this. I'm unfortunately only going to get 1 share because $100 shares. I might as well wait until they're 90, right? I mean, screw my priority because I'm going to have tons of money when nobody else does. I'm going to get company number 5. Pretty much guaranteed. Okay. 90 still doesn't get me that, but actually it gets me 2 shares, so yeah, good enough. So we go here, and yeah, I want to buy 2. Do I want to buy 3? Do I need 2 trains? That's a good question. I could really screw with the world by buying a second train, but I can't run a second train. Oh, this is kind of an iffy place anyway. I got to make my way somewhere else to make any money. Interesting. Interesting. So I think I'm just going to spend the 200 and keep 100 for some other company. What is that other company? Is that appealing? I don't know. I don't know if there is another company. It might be this one. There's an advantage to not buying your own shares. There's an advantage to buying your own shares too, though. But yeah, I don't want to. So all the companies started at 100. The 4 of them were on him with the priority, and one other person who has money. Do I want to buy a share at this point? We had already decided the answer is no, so we're going to pass. We're going to use our priority up, but it probably doesn't matter because we're going to get the next company pretty much no matter what. Over here, he's got only 20% of his company. You know, the other companies suck. They really do. The Lilly Bio is able to make some money initially. This thing is not that impressive. The Lilly Bio could actually run 2 trains for whatever that's worth. It doesn't want to, probably. Especially since it's running 4th and I'll be buying the last of those trains. And if it fails, well, he doesn't have enough cash, will he? He'll only have 20 bucks in here, so he wouldn't have enough to make it to the 6H if the other 3, if an extra train got bought. And there are no companies that could buy the extra train, except for if this guy threw that extra 100 bucks in. Which would be a shitty thing to do to that guy, but would also hurt himself, I think. So it's not going to happen. Which means we're at the 100 bucks on him. Do I want to spend that 100 bucks on something? So, I mean, the thing is, if I could buy the 6H for 200 bucks, that would be worth it, right? Because then I'd get the phase change and be able to break out of Catania. Of course, that helps a lot of people, but I think I'll just delay because it looks like he's going to be buying 2 shares, and we'll pay out the privates. I have an interesting opportunity here, which is I could actually just destroy this because it's not hooked up yet, but that doesn't seem worthwhile, right? It's my stock value, man. I won't end up with any money if I do that. So I want to build it up and get a train. The 25 buck payout that I'm getting off of this is better. You know, it's one of the things to think about. So yeah, I can build track that forces me to buy a train. And why do I have so much money? Wait a minute. Oh shit. Did I fuck something up? He might have wanted to buy a share of something. Probably not. So I spent the 155, which is why I have a fair amount of money. But like the other players, hey, this guy's got to start a company. Let's wait and see. Okay. But this is actually a company that could have won it 2 trains. And because I could start right away, boom, and shoot through and be in pretty good shape, or shoot up, you know, whatever. And these really confuse me. They're like covering the numbers that I can actually read. So I don't, like, I would have had to have bought that extra share. That would have signaled a lot of stuff to people. And I'm not sure it's a wise idea. I think it's better to build my trains up slowly. Although, that's going to be hard to do. So what are we doing? Well, that's the first company. Okay. With a 4H. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can make it there. That seems like that's the direction I'm going to want to go in. What do I want to set up for a second train? Yeah, that's a good question. This would be easy in terms of getting, if I put one of these here, remember, every city I've got to have a narrow gauge and a normal gauge track coming out of it. Well, I need the normal gauge here. This could go 2, 4, 6 to there. That's a lot of train to do that. I'm probably better off going up this way if I'm going to do that. If I'm going to do that, maybe I just want to use normal gauge and, pay the blast through costs. I've got a lot of shares in my company stock, and that gets me towards Palermo, which might set me up kind of sweetly. Unfortunately, I've got to buy the narrow gauge to begin with. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means when I go up to green, God. So this is where it gets ugly. So if I buy my narrow gauge going up this way, right, which is perhaps where I want to go, then I'm stuck building narrow gauge. And that would mean, well, 2, 4, 6, which is fine. But eventually, of course, I could switch here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, I mean, that's a painful run. But yeah, I mean, the point is, I'm probably not going to be able to build this, but maybe I just shoot through here with my normal gauge or whatever to get to Palermo really quickly. So let's build this, I guess. That's going to be normal gauge, so that cost me $40. And again, I mean, I feel like it's mainly lots and lots of, why don't I have a token on here? Lots and lots of decisions that are kind of being made blindly. And I don't remember, I know in a couple of games that I've been playing recently, you're allowed to build 2 tracks on the first round. I don't think this is one of them. So I want to buy my choo-choo. And I guess go back, and that's it. And I think I'm doing things right, but I don't know because, I haven't been reading the rules as carefully as I normally am when I go into these suckers. Okay. That puts us to the next company, which is Trincari. Let me think about that a little. Just as if you can't buy 2 trains in this game, which might make up for there only being 4 of them. Because let's take a look at this guy. I mean, maybe if you can get it done early right away, like here, maybe you can. But yeah, this guy could actually. He's the one person, but he's last in the list. So, I mean, this guy, he's not going to be able to run 2 4Hs, right? Yeah, sure he would. Sure he would. Yeah, the narrow gauge, it's not a different kind of train. It's just not able to go very far. So, yeah, you could run 2. Okay. I don't know what I was thinking. Well, la-di-da, let's have fun. I fail again. I mean, not entirely. I can make it down to Castiglione. But I can't go up through here. I can't go this way because it's different types of track, right? I don't know. Yeah, not in yellow. So for me to connect, we have to wait for green, or, God, this thing's get such a fucked up start game. Or, yeah, I mean, I can't do it. I can't do it because I don't hook up to a city, right? So this is a horrible starting company. I have $100 in here. Turns out I needed it, right? It's okay. So let's hold on. Let's not panic. We haven't destroyed ourselves yet. I will be able to buy a share of that. It'll only be $90, unfortunately. Which means that because I have to build normal track here, coming out of here, because that's what's here. And I also wouldn't be able to get anywhere on anything else. So this would be $120. Once I set it up, yeah, I don't have any extra cash inflow, so I've got to do this with cash on hand. So, well, no, wait, I'll have an extra $10 there, so it's conceivable. So what I'm looking at is to get my $100 for my train, but I may not be able to get this train. And this is what's fucked up, right? So I don't have the money for that train because I didn't buy that share, which means this guy could float a company and sneak in there ahead of me. And my God, what a mess this fucker is. I think this may be my most hated 18XX at this point. Just because, you know, that initial barrier of, can you get through this thing? No, you can't get through the first couple turns. It sure didn't look like it was this big a mess, but this fucking number covering the number that I can actually read. Here. So what do I have? I need $100 for that train, which means I can't build any fucking track if I do that because I didn't buy that share. My own fault, but whatever. But this is all I can build, and I think I get screwed. Period. The end. Except that this guy doesn't have $200, so he's not going to be able to go before me. Yay! At least there's that. God. What a fuck. All right. Yeah, so we got to build track, and we do not buy a train, and we go back an extra one because we fucked up. Say this is just fucking ridiculous, you know? I mean, the game is just designed to make it as hard to get the trains or whatever as you need. The first thing is the not being able to release shares before you buy the train, which to me is just horrible. But it's like the entire game, the whole start game is built around, let's make it as impossible, you know, as likely to just fuck yourself over completely. This is not the kind of thing that I like about XX. I don't mind the occasional decision where, like, oh boy, you got to get it right. But this game seems to just be built around that. It is, you know, it's really not pleasant to me. So that's where we end up at the stock round. Is a little bit of track built trains on most of the companies. Not this one, not the best one. Nope, fucked that one up. And I mean, I had the money that I could have set it up so that it works, right? And now, but I just didn't realize, because it's really easy not to realize shit in this game, because there's so much information coming at you. You know, all the terrain costs, multiple different types of tracks so that you can't get, you know, so that you have to calculate out the terrain in complex sort of ways. There's just, there's this huge barrier to being able to, like, play this one, pick it up quickly. And yeah, that definitely brings it to a negative. And it's the same problem that, like, others that I can't explore particularly well. 1853, the horrible India thing, you know, right away it hits you with, wow, you got to make these huge bids that, like, are these convoluted decision-making processes right at the start of the game. Nah, don't do that shit, man. That's horrible. Okay. Yeah. Not to mention the fixed start shit. We bought this. Yeah, and we bought this. I don't know who got it. I think he did. Yeah. There's so much confusion I can't even get the president's certificates out into people's hands. Right? Yeah. We may not make it through this. If it ends up too fucked up again, I'm just going to pack this one up and say, screw it. Onto the bad pile. All right. So where are we on stocks? We're on this guy. He's got some cash to spend. Not enough to buy himself anything, right? 175, 185, 195. $5 short. If I had gotten that without paying the premium, I could be buying a company for 100, getting it here, and basically destroying this guy's chance of winning. Instead, I'm stuck as an investor. What's going to make the best money? Yeah, well, that's the question. So 50 here without going to dual trains or anything like that. 30. But this has an opportunity maybe to get to dual trains. I don't know. Not sure I want to help that, but here we're looking, what are all those numbers? Oh, those are the fucking, yeah. So 40, 50, which looks as good as this, and is probably where I'm going to go. And we know this is going to make shit. It's a crappy little tip. Yeah, we're going to go for that. Buy one of them. And what does that give me in cash? Somehow. Oh, because they're less than 100. Yeah, somehow it gives me enough money for another share. Okay, over here. Do I need more money? I am the first company. I have another option at doing this at this point, and it will crush someone. Yeah, crushing someone seems like a good idea. Will I be able to get here? This is only going to cost $10. Yeah, I will be able to get there and buy 2 trains. I have one. Get me another one. Yeah, crushing a player seems like a good idea. Good enough. Well, we're fucked. Yeah, we're just fucked. Unless somebody buys a share of our stuff. But let's go down. Over here, 50, 60 bucks. That's not going to do me any good. 20 bucks certainly isn't. We get enough for another company. Now, what happens if we force the greens out? Do we want to do that? Not particularly. We're aware of his shitty situation and that he's fucked. And so we are not going to buy a share of his company. What we're looking at is that, well, yeah, he's advertising that he's going to buy another train. So, yeah. No matter what, you know, it's not like you're going to stop it. But the thing that it does stop is it stops him from buying a share of the person who's going to get destroyed's company. And I think that here, 50, 75. Good money. Now here's the thing. if this thing's shares start going down in value, people buy them up. It's going to be able to resurrect. It's not destroyed. He's just destroyed as a player from the game. He's taken too big a hit to recover from. But he'll still be in the game. We'll see what happens out of that. I think that's all she wrote, which means we go back to another operating round. For one thing, stock values don't increase, which is a good with early money, which is a good reason you want to hold off in buying things. You know, like he did not want to buy those shares because he needs to turn his shares around quickly. So, for example, wrong company. God damn it. What am I doing wrong here? I don't know. I saw yellow and pink are not at all the same. I don't know if it's this or what. But yeah, well, I'll leave what I've got there and go over here and deal with this. But I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I even put the thing at 3. I don't know why. This is 2, 4, 5. Let's pay that out. Big starting question is, of course, this guy has enough money now to buy a train. This is... I got him set and have paid out his money, so let's just deal with that as we do. But this guy actually has enough to do so. He did not promise to do so. And I don't think it's a good idea to do so. I'm close to the $200 6H train. I don't think that 4H is a good move. If somebody's already saying they're going to do it, screw it. We're moving, we're moving the colors forward. What I didn't do was lay track. I just bought that. So I would be able to get a little bit more money. So right now this is 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 if I got 2 trains. That would bump me up to where, I'm almost making enough money to move my marker forward. It's really hard to make money in this game early on. But since he already said he's going to do it, I'm going to trust him to do it. I'm not sure anybody particularly cares if he does it, except this guy who bought a share of it based on that decision rather than something that would have made more money. And that puts us on purple. I would have enough money to buy a 4H train, but I do not have enough money to buy a 6H train. So I just don't have enough money, right? However, maybe I kind of do because I could sell a share. Of course, I can release shares at this point so that I have enough money next time. This is not the first operating round, so I'm able to do it. And it's sort of the, the safety valve or whatever. But, geez, if I knew I was going to do that, I wouldn't have hooked down this way. I'd be going up this way, whatever. I don't know. Right. So I cannot hook this up or I will have to buy a train. And I cannot buy a train because I don't have enough cash to. But what I can do is I can release some shares into the bank pool. How many do I need? I don't know. And now that means it's time to open up the calculation aspect of the game again. Right? I mean, this is where it's just ridiculous. If I could just sell my shares and buy my train, great, whatever. But now I have to pre-plan it. And I might be wrong. So what's my pre-planning come to? Well, my pre-planning comes to that I'm going to get a $200 train. I think that's guaranteed. That I have to go here. That's 40 bucks. Okay. So I have 160. I'm 40 short of the $200 train and 40 short of this. So I need 80 bucks. Selling something, a single share at 90 should succeed. But it might not. Anyway. that's what we're going to do. We're going to do nothing for our turn, and we're going to sell a share for 90 bucks. Not 90 bucks. First we go back, and then we sell it at 80 bucks. And we finished up with the greenie, just building some more track because it's free, and running for crap money. Not moving anything forward because it's crap money. And we flip these, and we can't do that one-handed because the stack is more than 2 counters, and they're not. They're these stupid wooden things. The thing is, this is the kind of harshness that we introduced into Crayon Rails, where the game was just, you know, Crayon Rails is already a game of stupid calculations, but where you're counting everything and trying to figure all kind of crap out. But beyond that, we added it so, and I kind of liked it because it was just a harsh randomness. Here, you can kind of actually figure it all out, and I don't like that. But the harsh randomness that we added to Crayon Rails was, well, instead of in a lot of the games, they have trains that have a speed and a carrying capacity. And there's like, you start off with the 9-2 train, and I don't remember what it was. We gave the choice in the ones that had a choice between a 6-2 and a 9-1 or something like that. I don't know. No, you started with a 6-2 train. We just turned it upside down to indicate that it was worse. And you had to pay to run on your own track. I'm trying to remember what else. Anyway, we had set it up in such a way that just you often couldn't get a start in the game. And track that your company, like if your company failed, would just be left behind as track other people could run on at a higher cost. But they could also just buy it, you know, because it's already drawn. So that worked pretty neat in terms of like, let's try to make this game as miserable as possible. And that's what I feel like the design decision here is. Let's make this something that you have to pre-calculate as much as possible and try to guess and figure out so much more than you do in a normal 18xx game. And that's not what I like in XX. I like playing by feel. There's a lot that I'd change in this. And actually, I think my first play, I came a lot closer to the kind of game that I like. This is feeling like a nightmare on XX Street. You know, yes, there are games like 1853 that are just horrible, probably. I'm not sure because I can't put enough into them. There's games like 29 that are boring as shit. And why would you ever play it? And how did the series get started? Like, how did anybody want to play this thing? There's 1835 with its, you know, fixed packet of companies coming out in this absolute stasis where every game feels exactly the same. This is, with the rules as written, this is beginning to feel like it's in that misery level. I think I enjoyed my first game a lot more. First of all, more money available at a cost. The bonds, great idea. Secondly, release shares as you need them, not a turn in advance. You know, I don't know what else. I would be almost in favor of being able to release shares on the first operating round, just because, again, it's like, let's make this as hard as possible, as likely as possible that you're going to fuck up a calculation and screw your game for it. And that's just not what I play for. I mean, I understand people who really like getting their calculations perfect, and that's what they're all about. That's great, you know. I failed calculus. Well, I dropped out of Calc 2 because of, sloppy little math errors and the fact that the TA couldn't figure out that I was deriving calculus in the course of the exam because I can't remember it. Memorizing that shit's not possible for me. And boy, was I happy when they let me, when they allowed calculators as, things got easier in life. I mean, that's just a night and day thing, right? Like me having to manually calculate stuff versus a graphing calculator, which can remember the stupid sine function, what the derivative of the sine function is and stuff. That's just memorization. Fuck that, man. Anyway, I'm going off, but yeah, this is, I don't know if I want to play this thing. I like the design. I like what I played before. And I think if I clean that up and fix it a little bit, I'll like it a little better. Although, I'm not really thrilled about the multiple train track types, that track types. I mean, what's left if you start taking all that away? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, this is in the bottom of my list about now. Oh, after walking away for a while, yeah, I checked my video, and yes, I'm in the stock round. That's great. I got priority here, but I got no idea where I am beyond that, because again, this does not, comport with how I'm used to an XX game going, which is you get a little bit done and things are kind of in a safe space. Well, we got people who are looking, hey, maybe I can build, I can sell my shares and make enough money to start a company, but I don't know. But we have people who are interested in buying and manipulating those early shares. And again, maybe I just didn't let it play out quite far enough, but this one's really a burden to play in a lot of different ways. What is this guy? So this guy has 89 bucks, which is not enough to buy anything except one of these. And I could either buy one from the company treasury, which hurts the company. Is that what I want to do? Or I could buy one from here and help the company, essentially, because no one else has this kind of cash around. And this is basically what I'm going to be using my money for. I don't know whether or not, so there's some game, 1870 comes to mind, where I think you release the shares from your corporation during the stock round. That's again a clunky sort of situation where you can't, immediately finance the train that you need, which is similar to this. And again, this just seems to have a lot of those pre-planning moments, and it's new to me. And maybe I've calmed down a little, and we'll see if I can play it better today. But boy, did it get my gripe going yesterday. Buy the share out of the bank pool, because I'm sitting before him in priority, which means I may want multiple shares of this. I may want to help it out. It has enough cash to operate. I will probably be holding on to at least one share of it and maybe want the 20% share. So yeah, making it a stronger company seems kind of to my advantage. Let me just look over everyone else and make sure he is $1 short from buying one. Whoops. And, anyone else would have to be selling their shares to do something. So here, we're looking at 180. That's what I spent on it. 205, 220. It's enough to start the company. Do I want to start it now? Let me think. Because maybe. Of course not. If I put $200 in the company, I only have $200 in the company. And while that's enough to buy this, it's not enough to buy this in the tokens. I'll have to pay some cash out of pocket. Why bother? A turn's probably not going to make much difference in that level, and I'd rather not lose 40 bucks or whatever. 40 bucks I won't have, right? 205. I'll have 15, 18 bucks, and oh wait, maybe I will. I'll have 38. I'll have to sell a share if I do that, and that would actually bankrupt me. So don't want to do that. Okay, the Lilly Bio ran for 6 a share, paid out, and let's subtract here. But the neat thing is, I was able to afford another train, which means I'm conceivably going to be able to run 1, 2, 3. I don't know. That's probably it. And then something coming up this way. If I build this loop here, which isn't great right now, but I just built the first of the 6 trains, which means I opened up the greens, which actually means, hey, I would be open to being able to grab one of these. Now, this one would make things great for this, right? This is the one piece that gives access to purple for opening up its nice track. That's not something I particularly want to give to myself right now, although, you know, I could give myself some extra cash. However, I have enough money to probably buy a share of something. Hard to tell for sure. But purple doesn't have a train. They're going to be falling back in value. Maybe it wasn't a wise idea to buy a share. And so I think I'll hold there. With pink, you know, I laid my track, so I want to get 2 trains running. And I'm also paying out 6 a share, which I haven't given yet, but I don't know if I want another train. Before I think about this too much, do I want to generate some cash, which is a possibility and might hurt other people, by releasing some shares. So here's the deal. I got a 6H train. Problem is Palermo. Got to see how it builds. It builds like this, which means while greens are in play, and I don't remember my color. There's no easy cheat sheet anywhere in this game, and I don't think anything else. So what I'm looking for is the type of trains. So this gets me into the green. Brown isn't going to show up until the 10H train, which is some ways away. Yeah. So what was I thinking? I don't know what I'm asking. I'm asking myself whether or not I need money to blast through this. Right now I can run a train here and a train down here. If I'm blasting through at 160 here with the 6 train, it could go 1, maybe 2, I don't know, because that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, using normal track. This is not on the board. If I build the little, the narrow gauge track, I could go through 2, 4, 6, and that's it. And clearly that's not worth as much, but this is going to cost me 200 bucks. That would be at least 2 share blasts, and I don't know. I honestly don't know. I like the extra money, but dumping 2 shares into the pool sounds like a pretty big thing. I mean, the other side of it is you can just run this, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. I won't have that much money either. Yeah. I think I've got to do it. So let's drop 2 shares in for 180 bucks into the bank pool. It is not going to release additional shares. Because I think what I want to do is upgrade this next. You know, I'm running a pair of 4s, so I mean, yes, eventually, or very soon, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this run would add 20, 40. So that may be better than upgrading this, which will add only 20 bucks to my run, 10 for each run. So yeah, I'm not sure I really wanted to buy that extra train, but it caused other people to do stuff. So, you know, it had effects by making that claim. On to Archimedes. On the other hand, is just rushing with money because I hooked this up. So I'm up to the 9 a share, which allowed me to actually improve share value. And since I have like 8 shares in there and I'm making the most money, hey, that's great. That's not enough money to buy a train with, but I can buy another share of my company, which will get that money in place. That second train is important, and if it's a 6H, 2, 4, 5, 6 is pretty nice. They don't hit the port, but whatever. Can I improve that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, sure, but then I miss Ragusa. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I might be able to upgrade it and go 1, 2, 3. If I spend the 40, 4, 5, 6, which may be about as good as I can do. Anyhow, where are we? We're looking at, do we want to release shares? I don't think so, because that'll reduce the value of my shares, and I am capable of buying them myself, so I don't need to do that. So I guess nothing exciting for them. And that puts me to the last of the companies, this poor sucker, who of course loses more value. But maybe laying track and is definitely buying a choo-choo. Well, had better be laying track. But now the world's different, right? I can lay the green track. Maybe not that different. I can't lay the green track I want. I can't go into here. I assumed I would be able to. Memorization of the board might be important, or maybe there's multiple. Nah, of course not. Oh gosh. Well, opening this option up is probably my best move. All the same. Because I can always hook this up anyway. And if this happens to sell, which is unlikely, it's sitting over here and he's got no real reason to open up my track. But if it happens to sell, I can make the run to there without having to blast through the mountains, which I have enough cash for, I assume. But and then we buy ourselves a choo-choo, although we don't need to. Are we releasing more shares? I don't think so, because we got enough money to hook this up. And I don't see another train being necessary. Back to stock round. Stock round, hey, no money, great. Buys another share of the Archimedes, as planned. More money in there, can buy the train. For yellow, remember I released all that money so that I can blast through things. I shouldn't have released 2 shares. 2 shares is what I needed, but I had enough cash to buy one. I wouldn't have had enough to buy one at 86 though, so I guess I did need to do it this way. So yeah, I bought one of the release shares at 78. I'm costing my company money by doing it this way, but you know, the other option is buying a purple share, and that's no good. Now this guy's got to make his thought as to whether or not to start yet. Enough money to buy myself a share of purple, or because of the loss of value that the yellow line had. Oh geez, I hear the street cleaner coming. I just watched it go by one way and then the other. So this was one of the things, and I can't help but speak these things. every time things like that went by, the street cleaner was one of them. There's this weird vehicle with like a big wheel, a big yellow wheel on the back that like measures the streets or something like that. And just a whole bunch of things that she would see, and she'd just be like, everything here is so cartoony. And she thought so in Phoenix, some things, but here it's like there's more of these things that look like stuff from a Richard Scarry book or something. Just like nothing actually is like this. But anyway, yeah, the kind of stuff that made me so happy and that was part of who she is was whatever. Now she's just powder. So where am I? Yeah. So in terms of raising the capital to start the company, I kind of don't have it. I'm at like 241, which again means I'll have $200 in there. That's the cost of a train. I could get it up to 205, but again, I'm going to be pawing through cash on hand. Cash on hand I'll have now, but I'm probably better off just investing. And especially since this is interesting and might be a neat place, although it seems like the worst place to start. Massena is always interesting as a starting location. I can't just jump in here though. And he's got I can move to somewhere else on the board, which means if this is a good location right now, it might not be bad to use this to transfer me to Massena, where I can't get back to, which would suck, or Palermo if that gets upgraded, and I could actually upgrade that and go in there. There's a way to make my company interesting. Yeah, there are a number of alternatives that are intriguing, but I don't feel like I can use them yet. There is a new value available for companies to start at, but again, I don't have $288. I have 241 or whatever, so no great advantage to doing it that way. So I think we buy ourselves a purple. You recall in this one, if you leave shares sitting here in the stock pool, your price continues to drop. That can be regained. It's early in the game. It's hard to move the stock price to the right. So I can make up that space, but, in terms of like stocks that are purchased from here or whatever, they're just going to go down in value if you've got stuff kicking around in there. So I want to make that up as soon as I can, whenever that is, whether it's purchasing it out of my own, funds or using corporate funds that they're generating, because they still have a fair number of shares in there. We're on green now, so we get 2 operating rounds between. Not being invested in the Archimedes as the investor player, over here, the loose share, whatever, but it's really hurting him because that thing is paying out 9 a share, which nobody else is yet. That's not increasing stock value, but it is enough money. I upgraded this, dropped a dot here. It's a little questionable, right? Where do I want my dot? What? I don't know. But I'm not going to be able to get in here anytime soon, and maybe won't get the race for Massena, and the 8th Army will get there first or something. So we got certain issues that I don't know, I don't know if this is the best choice, but by buying another train, what I can do is I can run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, which is going to generate me a lot of money. One issue is finding the piece, and I don't know if there's more than one, but there aren't a lot that fits there. That one is the best piece. There might be another one that fits, but it's going to be hard because of these mountains on the sides that block you going from that direction. So I think this bird claw is the only piece that fits. There might be another bird claw that has dotted this way and solid this way, but this is the right one because it's going into the mountains with that. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Because why do I need to come out of here? I don't know again. So that'll be running a lot more money and starting to make some stock value. And people can't invest in it in between the operating rounds now. So, yeah. And for the Pinko line, I didn't upgrade anything. Shit. I ought to upgrade something. I didn't upgrade anything. Yeah, yellow didn't go. Pinko line ought to be upgrading something. I think I'll upgrade that since I have a dot there. But the dot here is important because it lets me run to this upgraded city. Lets me hit the port only once, of course, because this is considered like track. But yeah, I'm using 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, I guess. I don't have anywhere else to go yet. It could improve, but yeah, it doesn't look terribly good right now. Could I get the 6 coming down here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe. Could even hit that for 6, and that would make this 1, 2, 3. Oh, I don't have a 6. Yeah. Yeah, I don't see anything that's going to improve it too much, but I ought to improve that and get an extra $1 a share. I was at 13. That'll put me at 14, enough to push me forward for a little while. Think about this, because if I don't do the track upgrade, I have enough money for a 6H train. If I buy the 6H, I'm increasing the time. I'm decreasing the time that the 4Hs last, but they're not going to last all that long anyway. And the question then becomes, can I buy the 8H no matter what? And that has to look at this. The 8H is going to cost me $350. Wow, I might be in trouble. I have the 200 for the 6H. The 8H drops me to a 3-train limit. That's not a problem. I've got a 4-train limit now, so yeah, I could buy the first 8H if I get enough cash. How safe am I? I don't know. I mean, obviously, if I swallow, I can get there, but youch. There was only one legitimate track lay for this space. Good thing nobody took it, huh? God. Here's the thing. The question is whether anyone can hurt me, even inadvertently. I don't see anybody who's going to be spending this extra $200. This guy might, but I don't think anybody else is going to. That's a lot of money to spend, so I'm not going to release shares in the expectation of that 8H, but I may have to in the next operating round, simply because there's someone who could start a company, and well, they're probably not going to be able to spend $550. So to really hurt me, 2 trains have to fall, which means someone buys the 6H in the yellow round, or else this guy has enough money to buy 2 trains right off or whatever. So when does the 6H die? The 6H dies over here with the 10H. Interesting. With that big release of stocks, I spent the whole 160 to go this way. I don't get to Palermo otherwise on my 6H. So I've got another 40 I've got to spend, but I got a share in there. I make money off of buying that. How much money? Well, right now I'm running at 8 a share, so $8 more off of spending, 75, which doesn't seem like a good deal at all, seeing as I have to spend 40 to get through here, and I'm not going to have that. But can I make it? Because if I can make it, it's a wise choice. Or does it make more sense for me to just buy more shares of my stuff and leave things as safe. So that's the other question. So what would happen if I buy that? Well, first of all, do I want to buy it? There's no real need to make that choice right now. Let's hold off, because there is no real need for me to make it right now, and I can see a little closer to the time whether or not I can. And that's the way of making this game at all comprehensible. But you have to think so many jumps ahead for any company you're running at this point in the game. And wow, that makes it harder to solo. But I also wouldn't be thrilled playing it opposed. I don't feel like I feel like, if anything, my mental processes work better running all the companies of all the players at maximum number of players in an XX game compared to trying to run one all by myself. Yes, I make some errors, but it's about the same as I make some errors spread out among all the players. I generally probably make as many errors when I'm running a single company or a single player in an opposed situation. Just because, I'm playing with other people, so I'm chatting with them and stuff, I'm not that focused on the game. Yeah. Which is a problem. Okay. On to my last company. I got diverted. There are no good choices. I've got to run through here. Well, if I had known what was going on, maybe I could have run to here instead. But I had no clue where it was going to end up. And I can't afford to pass another turn and just keep dropping in value. I've got to start making some run value. So I got to pay this $40. Well, where the hell do I want to go? Well, I could go back here, and that would get me into all this wealth down here, which isn't that bad, actually. So I'm running a 6H. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not quite able to get to that big 60, so not worth it, right? Might be better to just zip down here and make my way around, which is available and sitting right on the top. But not yet. Not yet. I probably want to branch up here, but again, not yet. So I'm going to say it kind of doesn't matter which way I go. So then the question is, well, if I'm not going to go here, which is stupid anyway, do I want to go into this 160 or this 160? And in either case, because of the type of track I'm buying, maybe I want to point to the opposite direction than the one I want to go in. So this is the screwed up thing of this game. Like, if I build this track, then the green track could get me into here. And that's the kind of thinking, like, because I don't want to pay 160, but maybe I want to pay 40 for narrow gauge track. And it's very alien to me to think in those kind of terms. I don't know the answer. I think I'll just play this. Patterns and track cost for having to pay double over the narrow track and everything makes things a little bit more painful here. So right now I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess I have to run the 6 there. Where does the 4 run from? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, I guess. And they're about equal. I don't see anything that I can really improve. So I may just build this track out. There was, because of the mountain here, or the ridge line or whatever here, there's not an easy way through here. However, I could skip that entirely. Maybe. Depends on whether the pieces are there. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 could get me there, which means I could run that there. Does that improve my run? I don't know. Right? Currently, the 6 is running 67. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 50, 60, 120. What would this run? 70, 80, 90, 120. Not a lot of help there. This is the only legitimate track upgrade for this space, so I'm going to play it. Not that it does me any good right away, but at least I can upgrade to one of those someday, maybe, kind of what? Like I said, people are not going to like the fact that they didn't buy Archimedes. It's running at 20 a share, pushing share value up again, getting boodles of money in here, enough to buy me another train, which I could have, and I could actually use. Now, remember, that means the 4H goes away, and the 6H would die on the 10. I don't think it's a wise move, but I could be running a train here, and another train up here. Actually up into here, I think. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. And boosting that money by another, I don't know, let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, $70. So I'd be making 27 a share. I'd probably be swallowing that money to make up for the problem, though. The question is, do I really want to rush the trains? Does that help me terribly? And I would say no. It helps this guy who doesn't own a company and is, just making cash to start a company. Obviously, buying this thing, putting the 8H out there. It would be a big hurt maybe on him. But that would be the only place that it lies. I think I'd rather collect the capital. People are going to be buying shares of this if they want to invest in anything. It looks good. Although everything looks kind of good, it looks really good. Incredibly disturbing, and I understand it, but this is never going to change. That piece of track is always going to be, well, first of all, not only is it never going to change, that's always going to be this kind of track. The only thing it could upgrade to is another piece that's all that kind of mountain track. Now, because of how early this company started, that's almost guaranteed because the upgraded S doesn't come out for a long time. But, even when it does come out, there's not going to be an opportunity to upgrade that track because there's no town there. And that, to me, feels so fucked up that, I have this opportunity, but it's not really there. It looks like it is. I don't know where I am. I'm on the pinky trying to figure out if there's anything of interest I can do with that company. It's feeling kind of like the answer is no. I might just upgrade another one of these because I think I'm doing as well as I can. I'm running, right now I'm running 1, 2, 3, say, and 1, 2, 3. There's not much I can do unless I'm going to buy that 6H train. And I don't think I want to, but it's getting ugly because this guy may be starting something. Yeah, but I don't want to get from just the 8H for free. I want him to make him buy the 6H. So, yeah, I think I got to play towards trying to get that 8H fairly soon. I think I make it because I get enough cash to buy a share of my own stuff. And that's all I need is to be able to put that extra $100 in. The only problem is if this guy sells first, I might be like, oh, let me buy the one out of the bank pool so that problems don't happen at the end of the stock round. That might still be safe. I'm making 14 a share with 6 shares in it, comes to $84. That gets me close. And I could also just swallow to buy the train if things are looking kind of iffier than they may. I am second on the list, though, which is somewhat dangerous, but not too bad, I think. Where the fixed nature of this game causes problems. This guy's got the port. Well, until I get to Palermo, it's not useful. But this was the only company I was really offered, I think. Could I have passed and maybe gotten something else? I don't know, maybe. But look, this guy did not get to a port and would not be able to. Pink obviously is in them and green is in them, but you know, you might not get options that allow you to use the privates, and it's hard to, at least for me, I can't make a decision as to how those privates are going to influence necessarily which company I'm going to get. I clearly, that, again, lots and lots of pre-calculation in this game right from the very start in a way that, like, it definitely grumpified me. Now I'm not so much in worry about it, and even, people who didn't necessarily get a good start, kind of like, I don't know how bad they are. Yeah, he's only got 3 shares, but it's kind of a neat company. I don't know, even if it can't get anywhere. Speaking of which, I'm trying to figure out his track line. Final company on the final run of the operating rounds. Rand paid out. Purple did not advance, yellow did. Slightly better income there. What does that do for me? Well, I got 130 bucks. Next turn, I want to spend 40. That puts me to 90. That leaves me enough money to buy this. But I got enough money to buy that anyway. Sitting over here. And maybe I want enough money by buying this, which I could spend up to 150 on. The reason I want to buy this is because I'm going to be using the Palermo port next time, right? Unless, the track may be all wrong. Am I going to be using it next time? So I can't go this way because it'll be the wrong type of track. I'll have to, well, actually I could hook sharp here and then make my choice as to which type of track I want to upgrade to. So yes, I could do it. So let's see, that would be one, well, I'm doing this, so this is going 1, 2, 3, 4, that's fine. Right? So this is the 6. So this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, that's no good. But on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, that's fine. I'm actually going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 because I'm counting this way. Okay, good enough. So yeah, I want to do the sharp track there. Did I do it already? No, I did the free play. Right, I think. God. So, I mean, I've got a lot to balance here in terms of this. Like, first of all, do I want to buy this share? Does it matter? I don't think it matters because I think I can cover it with my own capital. But can I cover 2 shares of it at 70, which may be what it's coming to? Well, no, I cannot. If I can't, what does that mean in terms of my situation? Well, do I want to buy this, and for how much? Okay. Well, I need 40 bucks up front to build this track. 40 bucks up front means that I have not 150 bucks. Which I didn't have anyway. 40 bucks up front means I have 60, 85, 90 bucks that I could put in maybe. Maybe. Does that sound right? I don't know. I hope so. I am going to buy this. I could buy this instead. That would have moved less money. That gives me 140 bucks here, so I have no problem with buying all the outstanding shares. Somebody would have to buy and sell a share, and that's a really dicky thing to do, but it could happen. With no arbitrage in the game, like in 1830 where like par value is less than share value. There's someone has to really kind of want to hurt you, I guess, to do that. But yeah, I think that's what we want to do. And I hope I didn't fuck up, because if I did, I'm in trouble. And that puts me to the stock round. I'm going to complete the stock round before I load up. Here, the decision making is just too heavy compared to most XX games. And this may be why people love it, right? Because I'm just finding myself in much, much worse shape with this than I was with 1817. And 1817 does more of the things that I like. Whereas this, I feel like I'm just, you know, shaving $1 or something, trying to eke out, you know, the best possible value when I don't know. You know, after multiple plays, you'd think it would clear up, but again, the 3 or 4 plays that I've had, none of them have been good plays, so this one's probably the closest. I think I'm like playing by the rules at least. Oh. So what's his deal? Well, he kind of needs to throw more cash into his company. But there's shares out there. Oh, shit. You know, I'm probably going to see the stock value plummet if that's the case. I have this, which I can turn in. I'd love to buy a share of this at 111, but I don't think I'm going to have 222 or 217 or whatever. Even if I add this in, I'm not quite there. So, it's a problem, right? If we all pass, I'm fine. If I buy a share, I put the cash in there. That's what I need to do. All right. I'm going to dump this before it gets worse and get the cash. And I am going to buy a share of my company. I think. Let's see. It's me at 205, and I've sold a share of the purple, so I can't rebuy that. And this is not great, right? Maybe I can buy this if, you know, depending on what's going on. What about that 111? Do I need the cash in here? Yeah, I think so. Because I'm going to need at least 350. That means another $100. That could mean that I'm going to lose stock value twice off this company. How big a deal is that? I don't think that's too big a deal. I think the big deal is moving my share there. But I don't want to be sitting on assets that are going to collapse because he's obviously going to sell everything. So I don't want to buy the yellow. I don't want to buy anything else. You know, I've sold a share. I will get another action. Let's just sit, I think. Guy who, you know, got the hose of not being able to run his company for a while, has no private, yeah, just no source of income for a while, will probably come in last because of, you know, what happens in the initial stages of the game, and is probably just out of the game for the rest of the game. Then over to here, he had exactly enough money to buy himself another share. Perfect. I'll do that. You know, that puts more cash in the company. It's going to make me more cash. And it's, if nobody else buys any of that, I'll be able to split money with the company 60-40 or whatever. If people do, well, maybe I swallow instead to get towards what looks like I'm aiming at, and everybody's aiming at, is trying to get the 10H train, because that's the cheap permanent train, and that's always the deal to get that. Well, it's not the cheapest permanent train, mind you. Similar to the position the pink guy was in, I'm sitting here not sure what, if anything, I want to buy. But I'm willing to watch him and telegraph. So I'm going to pass, which moves this here for whatever it matters. But because I want to see what happens. And I very much suspect that my share is going to fall, the share value is going to go down, and I might as well pick those guys up at only 70 instead of 84 each, or 84 for the first one. I can sell most of my shares, not the purple, and start this at 100 with 3 shares. That gets me this cash on at 260 bucks. Where do I start, though, is the question. So remember, I have this that can smuggle, but I can't do it right away because I'm going to have to come up with cash to pump into my pocket, no matter how much I'm doing. I can't start here. I could start here. That's set up to slide in there. That's kind of interesting. I could start like someplace like here, but that doesn't look terribly valuable. I don't know if this was legitimate. I think it was. I think you're allowed to take spaces the Garibaldi's supposed to be able to go into. I hope so. Damn it. Yeah. It's like a token placement. So, tokens may not be placed to block the home city of a corporation that's not in operation. Oh, God. Is this one of the things that's clarified? Nope. So let's look at 9.41, which I think was the one, the Garibaldi. The Garibaldi can choose one of these if there's no open station book in any of the possible cities. Then it can't be started. Hey, you can actually block it from existing. Okay. So, yeah. My choices are basically here, here, which might not be the worst, here, where he's already starting stuff, but I mean, you know, we say Pink's the worst company, and I can go in there, but I've got the smuggle. Here, which at least I'm close. Will I slip in ahead of yellow? Yes. But not if I build the track that it can actually connect. No. So yeah, we might end up with like this kind of stupid... Neither player can afford to lay a track if I go in there. That sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. Messina is always an option. It goes up to a 50, which is pretty decent. Not Palermo level, though. So yeah, if I start down here, I'm worse than him. If I start here, I may be better than Pink. Because Pink's already laid a token over here. And I've got the smuggle option. If I lay here, I'm just shit out of luck, I think. Here I'd be like competing with Pink instead of working to help. I don't really see that as too valuable. What am I going to be running? I'm going to be running a 6H. Well, coming up this way, 2, 4, yeah, that doesn't look good. So that's not going to work very well. If I could come up with a lot of cash real quick, I could smuggle my way into Palermo, but I don't think that's going to happen. This can only smuggle you into a coastal city, if I recall correctly. Maybe it's worse than that. Any coastal hex, yeah. Which gives a reason for one of these two, because I can't get that otherwise. Oh, gosh. At least this is not too bad, but it's not great. No, it sucks right now. It sucks right now. Eventually it's decent, but right now it just sucks. I am not seeing anything that is really appealing to me. This space could connect me from here, which is a valuable city, up towards there. Maybe that's the best I can do. Sounds shitty to begin with. This is going to be 240 to set this up with regular track. It's going to cost 80 no matter what. I just don't have the cash to set that up now, but I might. On the other hand, Jesus, I don't know. Garibaldi sucks right now. Messina, which is attractive in various ways, is just no good. Because when the 12 trade comes out, it's destroyed. And my token is permanently destroyed unless my company's restarted. So that feels like a non-starter. I'm leaning more and more to this, horrible as that is. Let's see. 2, 4, and then I can't go this way. 6, 8. Man, that's not going to get me there. It will get me far enough that I could drop a dot, but yellow is going to get their dot first. What about in this direction? Yeah, let's not hook up. What about that? That would be 160 or 20. Well, or 100. 100 if I use narrow gauge, but if I use narrow gauge, it's 2, 4, 6. Yeah, that's not going to do it. And I'm stuck with that stupid 6 train. I mean, at least here, I've got some track. You could say the same here, but how do I get around? And then the other thing is when does my private company die? Because that's my smuggle capability. Smuggling into Messina is something that I want to do. That happens with the 12 train when the privates die. So I'm not going to be able to smuggle into Messina. I could smuggle into here. That's pretty good. So let's think about that. If that's where I'm going to be, what do I want my other place to be? Other than Messina, because I save a token and I go up there and whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm looking at what happens here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not bad. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it's the best I can do is to start over here, smuggle into here, and maybe get Messina later. I'm not going to get Palermo, I assume. Hard to tell. Because, see, now there's this huge disincentive for either of us to build into there. That's the problem. Plus, I've blocked off his path. How about that? I think I just caused him problems, didn't I? Because if I lay here, he's got to lay here, then I hook in and put my dot. I win. I mean, not the game, but I win the little race, right? Sweet. Okay, why was I so disturbed? Well, because I didn't see that I have a dot there. Perfect. So I spent a lot of effort thinking about something that didn't matter. Has to make the worry about, do I want the extra $106 in there and lose some stock value? Because no, it's probably not going to shift around again. I can only buy 1 share of my company. Whee! Which is where I was afraid I was going to end up. Do I need that extra money in there? Well, the 6 train's going to get bought. that means I need 350 after my run. I go before it, which could be a problem. Is anybody going to have the money? He might have the money to buy the 8 train. He might not want the 8 train. Hard to tell. He has the money. Does he want it or not? Yeah, that's the big question. Does he want to just keep making good money and maybe not be able to buy the 5 train, but maybe be able to? This is always, an issue. Or I'm sorry, the 10 train. The 10. It feels like a 5. It's the first. I think I need to sink my cash into my company and to hell with my stock value because I can make that up later. In pre-planning time, we're on the Lilly Bio owner who is not happy with this, especially since now I know I'm screwed. And it's not just we're both screwed, which would have been probably more disturbing to tell you the truth. But there's 2 shares of this that I can buy. I have enough money for them. I probably wanted to protect their stock value, but I don't have a lot of cash in here. I got a 6 train. I'm not going to be able to get the 8 train. Probably okay. Because I threw the extra money in here. I was planning on sinking that money in here, but it's turned out that the shares went away. So, or too many shares were sold or something. I don't know why. Yeah, there was one sitting in there and somebody sold the other one, and that's what happened. So, yeah, I guess I buy those up. The reason being, if I push forward, as long as I don't go down, I can push forward into the 77 space, and then I can release shares and sell them, and they'll hit that bottom and won't keep dropping. Plays out pretty quickly from there. This guy can't buy the yellows because he sold them, getting them down to the same value. He picks up a yellow with his excess cash because he doesn't have enough for one of his own. He actually does not buy one from the company because, I don't know, this is available, and was like, oh, it's making too much. Well, yeah, it is, but it's very quickly not going to be making that much. It will get one more run. Nothing's sold out. There's a couple of things that have some stock price problems. And that will push us into the operating round. And I'm going to say, we're sending this one up in this condition.